Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
Success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You gotta put that work in, man. You gotta go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals.
Inspire.
I go out and I go get it.
You're in the right place. You're checking out Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles.
Conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today I have with me Dr. David Abbasi. And Dr. Abbasi is originally from the suburbs of Chicago, but he's currently in the Woodlands area, and he's an orthopedic surgeon. And so thankful to have him on this episode of the Success Chronicles. Great guy, doing some great things. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I was very flattered that you offered to have me. I don't know why you chose me, but figured I'd get out of my comfort zone and try something new. So
yeah, you know, it's crazy. You know, I've interviewed people, and they're saying, you know, I'm out of my comfort zone. I don't do this, you know.
Exactly.
But I'm genuinely, you know, from the heart, man, appreciative that you would, you know, step out of your comfort zone with me. And just like I told you off air, you know, it'll be a good time. We're gonna have a blast. And I'm interested in learning about you, but more than that, sharing it for our audience so that you know, they'll have inspiration and motivation in their life. So, talk to us about your life story. You know, and I mentioned where you're from,
right.
But if you don't mind, how it was for you growing up, and kind of track your story till now.
So I grew up in the northern suburbs of Chicago, in a village called Glenview. I grew up there, went to high school there, went to New Trier High School in Winnetka. When I was in high school, I joined the wrestling team, so I was a wrestler for 4 years. It kind of fits my body type, and I think, you know, starting that path with wrestling was a really good thing for me, just because it's a sport that's very physically and mentally, it takes a tough person to do, and so that was a good lesson to start out with. Was able to be, you know, voted captain my senior year. After that, I went to University of Iowa for college, and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. You know, we don't have any doctors in the family, so, you know, I've never really thought that was a possibility. Didn't have any kind of mentors or anything. You know, my parents immigrated from Iran, so didn't really have any idea that was a possibility for me. So started out, you know, and I always knew that I liked science.
Yeah.
And, you know, usually your first couple of years they have these big weed out classes. You know, they got, you know, stuff 500 kids in a room, and, you know, usually only half go on and things like that. And I remember my first chemistry test, I got a D on it, you know, in college. And, you know, I thought that I had prepared and I thought that I had studied, and I was really just kind of distraught by it. So I decided I was going to go see the professor and talk to him, and, you know, I was like, you know, I thought I did everything I had to do. I studied all the coursework, but, you know, he showed me that, you know, maybe I wasn't studying the right way. And so was able to develop a relationship with him, you know, Professor Hansen. The guy changed my life. You know, he invested his time in me. I started coming in to see him 2-3 times a week, you know, an hour or two each time, and just kind of learning chemistry and learning how to study really. And was able to turn that into like an A-, you know, starting from a D. So that was a good start for me. At the time, you know, still I didn't know I wanted to be a doctor. I was a pre-pharmacy student, so I was going to be a pharmacist. I had already been accepted into the pharmacy school, and so I had gotten a job at University of Iowa Hospital working as a pharmacy compounder, and so I was making these chemicals and things that would be used for patients in the hospital. And long story short, basically I was working with this burn chemical one day, and it must have gotten on the counter and I didn't realize it, and 6-7 hours later, I looked at my arm and it was just bubbling. So I had a pretty severe burn on my entire forearm. So this was the middle of the night. I woke up my roommate. He rushes me to the emergency room. They get me up to the burn unit, University of Iowa, and they give me some medication to make me relax a little bit. And they basically take a scissor and just start cutting off the blisters, and take a razor and start shaving off the top layer. And that experience was kind of the first time I'd ever been inside of a hospital, and kind of saw how doctors work with nurses and patients, and there were students and people learning, and I was like, man, this was really cool.
The life.
This is where it's at.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe I'm going to try to be a doctor. So I withdrew my application from the pharmacy school, and they look at me like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you're in. There's people who want this spot. I was like, no, it's not for me. So was lucky enough to get accepted to medical school. Went to Loyola in Chicago. Med school is 4 years, and then was lucky enough to get accepted into orthopedic surgery. So I went to University of Cincinnati, and that's 5 years. And then I wanted to pursue my training in sports medicine focus. So that was an extra 1 year, and I did that in Miami. And that was cool because we got to take care of the Miami Dolphins under Dr. Uribe. We took care of the Florida International University Panthers, so NCAA team. And then a bunch of UFC fighters, because it's a big area that they all kind of train at. And then ended up down here working in Houston with UT Ortho. So that's kind of how I've gotten to where I'm at now.
You said a few things that kind of stuck out to me.
Right.
You said you talked about your experiences. We don't have doctors in the family.
Right.
Like this is kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
But believing that you can do it.
Right.
Then the next deal that kind of stuck out to me is the relationships. How you said with your professor.
Right.
I think it's important to have quality relationships.
Yes.
One of my former pastors, he said, our life moves at the speed of our relationships.
Right.
And I truly believe that. You have to have quality relationships and people around you, support team that believe in you, but not just believe in you, but push you to do and achieve things that you don't think you can do.
Right.
And I think from there, just like you said, kind of started the snowball. Well, okay, education, right. This experience, and then now it's truly been a blessing for you in your life to help others. And I can say that because, I know the things that you do based on our athletes and us as, coaches. So what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
So I would say, let's go chronological.
Okay.
And, just as a disclaimer, I'm usually a very even keel guy, so I don't get excited very easily. I don't get excited when I wake up on my birthday or anything like that. I just, vacations, I get a little excited, but, I can count on my hand the times when I was really ecstatic or excited, like jumping off the ground. And I would say the first one was when I learned that I got accepted to med school. I remember I was home for winter break from University of Iowa, and you send into all these schools, you interview with them, and then you just kind of wait and you wait, and it's several months, and you get nervous. And so I was calling to check in on them, and they told me on the phone, like, we're not supposed to tell you over the phone. You're going to receive a letter, but she basically let it slip so that you got accepted. And I remember I was in my bedroom in Glenview. My sister was in the room, and I jumped 4 feet in the air. Just, yes! I was so excited because I never thought that would be a possibility for me. And so that I'll never forget that. And she was just looking at me all giggly, and I was running around upstairs just ecstatic. And so
that's a good reason to run around.
I was so excited. I mean, I never thought me be a doctor. And the second time, similar enough, was when I learned that I got a surgeon. So similar process. In med school, you apply for the specialty that you want to do. You do some rotations. You apply to them, but you can't necessarily always get into the field that you want to get into, because some are a little bit more competitive than others, and everybody loves to be an orthopedic surgeon because it's just awesome.
Right.
And so you basically open up a letter that tells you whether or not you've matched to the specialty that you wanted to. So I remember opening up that letter, and it says that congratulations, you had matched. And I was ecstatic, because no matter what going forward, I knew I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah.
And so that was really big for me. And then finally, the third thing I would say would be my family. Meeting my wife. I was an intern during my orthopedic surgery residency. She was a nurse, and I was on rotation. She happened to be a nurse at that on that rotation, and I had seen her one or two times. And you spend a month or two on a rotation, then you move on to the next rotation. And it was like my second or third day from the end of the rotation. So I was like, man, this girl is, she's nice, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't get the courage to do, give it a try, I'm going to be out. I'm going to miss the opportunity. So I worked up the courage, and started asking about her, and found out she was single. So I asked her if she wanted to go out sometime, and we went out on a date, and literally since that day we've been together nonstop. That was a long time ago. Now we have 2 kids. Gabriel's 3, Adriana's 2. We got another on the way, coming in March. So I'm very blessed that I think it takes a special partner that is with somebody that's in medicine, because it's very demanding. It's long hours, and she gets it that that's what I was put on this earth to do, and she supports me, and so I'm just very blessed about that.
It's always good when you have people in your life that love you and support your passions. Just like you said, like they know, like she knows, like this is what I was put on the earth to do.
Right.
So it's always a blessing when you can have that.
Right. For sure.
Let's talk success.
Okay.
What's your definition of success?
Okay. So I'm just going to say as a disclaimer, and I told you this before, I would not consider myself successful at this point in my career. I would say I'm more kind of working towards that goal. But to me, the more I study about it, or more I read about, successful people, I think to me success is achieving one's maximum potential. And I think it's taking any talent that you have, any willpower that you have, and just stretching every last centimeter out of it and achieving your full potential. And to me, that's successful. If you can change the world in a better way, give to the world. But to me, it's achieving one's maximum potential.
What do you think it takes to achieve that type of success?
That's a tough one. And again, I wouldn't say that I'm a successful person, but I like to read about successful people. I love to be around successful people. I think being next to great people, I draw energy from that. It motivates me. It inspires me. In 2018, going on 2019, we're lucky because we have, not only can you go and put yourself around them, but you can read about them. You can read a book. You can do it, listen to a TED Talk. You can listen to a podcast like yours. You
heard it. You need to check out the podcast.
That's right. I think it has to do with, what is your motivation? It has to, is it coming? Where is your motivation coming from? I think it has to be just such a part of you that it's like, what are you willing to invest so much time that you're going to try to be the best at it? I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think it has to do with doing what you love to do, or what you think you were put on this earth to do. And for me, orthopedic surgery is I just love it. Sports medicine, I just love it. I mean, I feel like I would pay money to do what I do. I mean, I love it so much. I think it has to do with your mindset. I think you have to take on challenges. I think you have to, you know, set your standards very high and try to over-deliver. You know, try to look at difficult situations more as an opportunity than as a setback. You know, I think there's an opportunity for every challenge.
I agree with that.
You know, and I think part of it also is being very self-critical. You know, always looking for ways to improve. You know, like if I have a bad or if I have a tough surgery, if I think maybe I could have done better, you know, I try. You know, it bothers me. You know, I stay awake. I think about it. You know, what could have gone better? You know, what went wrong? What am I going to do to get better? How is this never going to happen to me again?
Yeah.
And I think that's the definition of growing. You know what I mean? I don't think success is a straight line. I think it comes with peaks and valleys, but I think it depends on what you're doing to learn from your mistakes. I think that's what real growth is. You know, like I said, I like to read about great people. You know, Einstein and Jobs and things like that. If you really dive into, you know, some of the most successful people that really changed the world, I think could have had an excuse to give up. I think they all could have had a way to bail out. You know, Einstein wasn't accepted as a professor anywhere after his study. He did it as a patent clerk. You know, Jobs got fired from his job. You know, FDR, you know, he had polio. He never walked. He was in a wheelchair, but he was the president of the United States. So don't be the guy that makes excuses. You know what I mean? I think you find a way to get it done. You know. Period. Like, you know, when you came over today, you know, if you're driving your car and the tree's down in the middle of the road, are you going to just sit in front of the tree?
No.
Are you going to go home?
No. I'm going to interview Dr. Abbasi.
That's right.
I'm going to find a way.
You put it in your phone. You find a detour. I mean, I think the guys that are, the more I read about, you know, the successful people just are obsessed, and they just want to stop, and they use those setbacks to motivate them even more. And so I think those are some things that I'm trying to learn more about and try to implement, you know, as I continue to grow.
Yeah. I'm appreciative of you saying you don't think that you're successful, you know. Yeah. But I think that's the proper mindset that we all need to have. I think we're all a work in progress.
Right.
You know, none of us are perfect. I mean, even if we have achieved, you know, like some of the great things like you've been blessed to achieve, but like there's still some more that I can do.
Right.
You know, and I think when you have, like you said, the mindset of continuous growth, it means something to me. The mentality, it doesn't matter, it's no excuses, I'm going to get it done.
Right.
Period. I think when you have that, I think it gives you amazing success, but bigger than that, I think it puts you in position to be in alignment with your assignment. Right. You know, and you've said that, you know, several times, I love this. Like what I do, like I love what I do. Right. You know, and I think it's awesome. One last question, you know, off the script here. Okay. I think what you do is amazing. You know, I've had an opportunity to see your work, see how you do what you do, hearing your story of your humbleness, you know, but grind. You know, I'm the same way. You know, I'm humble, but don't get it twisted. I'm hungry. Right. You know, like
gotta have that hunger.
Yeah, let's go. You know, and so you know, at the end of the day, you know, I think what you do makes a huge difference. You know, what do you want your legacy to be?
Well, yeah, I mean, so that's something, you know, I think about, and again, I'm very young in my career, and but you know, that being said, you know, we have a very, I think, short time on this earth. Yes. You know, they think the average is 70 to 80 years, and that's if you hit the lottery and you don't get, you know, cancer or you get sick or something like that. So, to me, it is doing everything that I can to, you know, get better, to continually improve. You know, I try to read a book a week, just a self-improvement book, or learn about somebody great. I think, you know, one of the guys whose podcast I listen to, Tim Ferriss, wrote a bunch of books. I love one of the things that he says is, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so I try to do my best to, spend time with people that are better than me, that are smarter than me, who have more experience than me, because I get inspired by that and it makes me better. I go and I shadow people my chairman doing surgery, and I'm like, man, I like how he did that, and I'll put it into my, put it into my technique. Or, I watch a lot of videos online of surgeries. It's 2018, 2019, so YouTube is right there, or all these surgical videos.
Yeah, no excuse.
If I'm going to do a surgery that I have not done as many of, I will watch every video about that surgery, and I will pick and choose what I like of the videos and put it into my own technique. And maybe I'll throw in, my chairman's Dr. Lowe's technique, and I'll put in the video's technique, and I'll try to make something that's David Abbasi's. But again, it comes back to always, I think the enemy is comfort. I think you always have to be, how can I get better? How can I, 1% every day. I think always just trying to, how do I do better and how do I do more? I think those are important things that I'm trying to kind of implement as I continue to, do my career, and I'm blessed to do.
That's awesome. Well, again, I want to tell you thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. I truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.